Hey, Shayla from Making Lemonade from Lemons, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about what I learned about growing in grow bags. So there are 4 things that I learned about growing in grow bags this year. As most of you guys know, if you've watched my channel at all, everything that I grew, with the exception of my garlic is in a plastic tote, but everything else I have grown in a grow bag. So first things first, the first thing that I learned is you can grow anything in a grow bag. At least I haven't found anything that can't grow. I have grown everything from peas to turnips to tomatoes, peppers, watermelons, cantaloupe, pumpkins. So that is one of the things people think, oh, well, you can't grow XYZ in a grow bag because it's a container. No, you can grow. I have not found anything at this point that you cannot grow in a grow bag. All right, so they're really versatile, and for me that was something that was really important, was versatility and being able to use something that was going to be a container that I could move around, something that because like I said, this year my whole garden was an experiment. I have so many trees on my property and in my yard, and so it was really important for me to be able to move them around if I wanted to, or if I needed to, in order to get the amount of sunlight that the plants needed to be able to grow properly. So, you know, they're versatile, and like I said, anything can grow in them. I was not limited at all what I could grow in the bags, and that was important to me as well, especially since I was trying to use these as like a raised bed type option. All right, the second thing that I learned about growing in grow bags is that soil matters. All right, so the soil is really important in how you grow anything, and I think most people know this. So when you're using grow bags, you don't have the benefit of having the soil underneath for the plants to be able to grow roots all the way down into the soil and get nutrients. So that being the case, you have to have all the nutrients that those plants need in order to grow and produce good fruits in your bag. So what I did, and the way that I grew all of my plants, was I did a mix of raised bed garden mix, where I got several different types and never saw any difference because of what I put in them. Now, I used organic soils. So the raised bed mixes that I got were organic. Then I added compost, organic compost that I purchased from the store, because I haven't really begun doing compost myself yet, which I want to get into. I really would love to get started on that. I just haven't. Partially because I'm trying to do research on how to get it started. So if you guys have any good links or anything for that, please put that in the links below, or in the comments below. So if you guys have any any information or references that you guys think that I should look at for working on starting a compost pile, especially a hot compost. That's really what I would love to do. So I added the compost in. I also added worm castings, and I added azomite, which is a rock dust, and it's got lots of minerals, and so that's how I built my soil. Then I also used an organic fertilizer in amongst it, which the one that I used the most was Trifecta Plus, and I will put a link to that in the description. And I really did not have an issue growing anything. The only thing that I had an issue growing was rosemary and I think one other herb that I just had trouble getting started. So it had nothing to do with the soil. It's just me. I was just learning. Everything was learning this year. Everything growing from seeds. This is the first time I've ever grown from seeds this year. The first time I've ever grown by myself instead of at my parents' house. So this was a big, huge learning curve, but I was able to pretty much grow anything and everything that I wanted to grow. So that brings me to the third thing I learned. So number 3 in learning about growing in grow bags is water matters. Of course, you guys know water matters. If it's too dry or if it's too wet, you're going to lose your plants. The thing that you have to realize whenever you are growing in grow bags is that they are porous. So it's great because you can't really overwater your plants, with the exception of, I will say that I think that my pepper plants were overwatered in the extent of that they didn't have enough stress on them to start producing the capsaicin that they need in order to make them into hot peppers until later. And that was because I realized that I was watering them too often, because I was watering them every day as well as all my other plants. And that is one thing, they are drought tolerant plants. Yes, you still need to water them, but they're more drought tolerant and they actually like a little bit of drought. They kind of thrive off of it. They're a plant that's supposed to be grown in hot, dry places. So anyways, for the most part, I had to water my plants every day, especially during the summer whenever it was hot and dry and the temps were getting into the 90s and hundreds. We had weeks on end that was like that, where it didn't get below 70 degrees at night. Sometimes it was like 77 and still in the 90s and hundreds. So I just had to make sure to water everything every day unless it was raining, because they're bags and they're porous and they don't hold the water in. Now there are a lot of people who use buckets and that kind of stuff, and that holds in moisture better because even though you have holes in it, the whole thing is not porous. So you can actually have self-wicking containers and that kind of thing. I have a tendency to overwater everything, so it's probably better for me to have the grow bags that I cannot overwater it, because you know, the excess water just seeps out of the sides and everything. So, just so that you guys know, if you use grow bags, you're probably going to have to water in the hot parts of the year. You're probably going to have to water it every day. In the spring and in the fall, the water doesn't evaporate as fast anyways, so you will have to water it less often, even when it's not raining. So that brings us to the fourth and final thing that I learned about growing in grow bags. And you guys might think that this is a no-brainer. However, size matters. Okay? So, whenever it comes to actually growing in the various sizes of grow bags, anything will grow in them. I had 5-gallon grow bags, 7-gallon grow bags, 10-gallon grow bags, 15, 20, and then I had a 200-gallon grow bag. Okay, or still have. One of the things that you need to remember whenever you plant anything inside those grow bags is that you have to consider how they're going to grow. So, I was able to successfully grow an indeterminate tomato inside a 5-gallon grow bag. And it grew fine, and I didn't have any problems. I got lots of tomatoes off of it. That is not the problem. The problem with the size is that it was so top heavy that it kept wanting to fall over. So in that case, I had to stake it with, because I had stakes in all of my grow bags, I had to actually add a stake that would, one of the T-posts had to go against a T-post, because if it didn't go against a T-post, it was going to fall over. So I will say that indeterminate tomatoes, I felt, did better in 15 and 20-gallon grow bags. Not that they cannot be grown in smaller sizes. They can be grown in smaller sizes. But it was so much better in those 15 and 20-gallon bags, grow bags, because since they were so top heavy, with the base being heavy as well, with a lot of soil and the roots and that kind of thing, they didn't try to fall over as much. As long as you had the correct type of stake in your grow bag. If you guys want, you should go back and look at some of my videos of tomato plants where the stakes were falling over. They're kind of amusing. A little bit aggravating, but it was such a great learning experience. So anything that was not tall can be grown in a 5-gallon, 7-gallon grow bag, no problems. I would say that anything such as anything like watermelons, cantaloupes, pumpkins, that kind of thing, you need to grow those in 15 or 20-gallon grow bags as well, because you can do like I did, and you can trellis or get cages and grow your watermelons up the cages, or you can put them against a trellis and grow them up a trellis. Just realize that they are going to need either vertical space or they're going to need to sprawl out on the ground. The same thing with pumpkins, really. The only thing with pumpkins is that pumpkins are generally heavier when it comes to, unless you get the large variety of watermelons. So with the large variety of watermelons, large varieties of squash, large varieties of pumpkins, those types of things, you need area where they can sprawl out on the ground. So what I did, and I will do again next year, I will just make a bigger space, is I had a whole squared off area just for the pumpkins and watermelons to kind of sprawl out behind the grow bags. And I just need to make sure that they are sprawling out behind the grow bags rather than in front of them. But I also need to make sure it's got enough space. So, because they can actually grow pretty long, probably about, one of my pumpkin plants probably grew about 100 feet from the bag. One of, I think it was my jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, actually. So they can actually grow pretty far. You just need to make sure that you have enough space for them, which is another reason that size matters, because that is one of the things that with the 20-gallon grow bags, tomatoes had enough space to, you know, grow. Indeterminate tomatoes had enough space to grow. If you're looking at peppers, I used a 20-gallon grow bag, and I put 5 peppers in there, and they grew fine. So pepper plants don't really take up as much space. You can put 1 pepper plant in a 5-gallon grow bag. You can put 2 pepper plants in a 5-gallon grow bag, and they'll be fine. You just need to make sure that you have enough space for the actual plant around them. So you will need to space out your bags accordingly. So that was another thing that I learned about, was size of the bags, but the size of the bags also need space around them as well. So you don't necessarily want them right next to each other. So anyways, I hope that this video helps anybody who is looking at growing in grow bags or contemplating growing vegetables in grow bags. I advise it, and I'm probably going to just continue to do that. They were, like I said, for me and my situation, they worked out perfectly. So anyways, if you like the video, click like and subscribe. And if you think that the information can help other people, then please share it with your friends. That is one way you guys can help out my channel as well, if you would like to help out the channel. But I think that this is something that people who have a lot of shade, maybe they can use that information, or people who, may need to move their bags around for whatever reason. It would be a good thing for them, because most beds are stable. Most people use raised beds, or they, till in the soil, and you can't move that around. So, and they also raise everything up so that those people who have issues with their backs or bending or whatever, then that can help also with that. So anyways, thanks so much for spending time with me. I really appreciate everybody who comes by. I appreciate all my subscribers and everybody who watches. I really do appreciate it. So thanks so much again for spending time with me, and we'll see you soon.